Hi guys, Tim Jordan here, Product Marketing Manager for Open Colleges. Today we're going to talk about a new course that we're very excited to launch, the Diploma of Community Services Work. We've been working on this course for a few months now, and we're looking forward to getting it out into market. We think it's going to be a popular course. So at the end of this presentation, you should have a good idea of who this course would be suitable for and the type of outcomes that they might get out of it. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to go through the rationale for why we've chosen to develop this course, and then we'll talk about who we think the target audience will be. So, what kind of demographic information we have about that audience, and what motivations we think they're going to be having to study the course. We'll talk about what the outcomes are, what jobs they can get after they graduate, and then we'll go into the details of the entry requirements required to get into the course, and then the structure of how the course actually is put together. We'll talk about work placement, and then we'll finish off with a comparison of our competitors, and we'll talk about how much it's going to cost and the price of the course. So let's get stuck in. So the reason we decided to develop this course in Diploma of Community Services Work, since the beginning of this year, since January of 2007, five of the top 7 of Open Colleges courses have all come from the Community Services faculty. So it shows the importance of this faculty, and it shows that the volume that there is in courses within the community services industry. However, we don't actually have a course specific to community services. Obviously, we have childcare, aged care, disability education support. So we thought that this was really an area we needed to explore further. The industry itself, it's grown dramatically. So in the past 10 years, the community services sector has grown 51% in terms of the number of people that are employed in that sector. And their forecast is that they think they're going to need up to 300,000 newly qualified workers in the community services in the next 5 years. So because of that, the government is investing $2.2 billion into the sector, into community services. So that's funding coming from the government to services in community services such as housing, such as alcohol and other drugs, services such as mental health, family services, child services like youth and young people. So we think that it's an industry that is going to definitely need qualified people, and that people are going to be interested in a qualification that will allow them to work in community services work. Also, last year, almost 10,000 students enrolled in this very qualification at TAFE across Australia in face-to-face mode. So there's definitely volume there. There's definitely enough people interested in this course, and we think that there's going to be a decent amount of people who want to study this qualification with our flexible program, in that they can enroll anytime and study any time at their own pace. So we think that that this is definitely going to be a course that people are going to be interested in. And we also took a look at the market. There's a medium level of competition, so we'll go through that at the end. But in terms of price competition, it's at a low level. It's not like this qualification is definitely competing on price, much in the same way that, so for example, aged care or childcare would be. We think this is a more of a qualification that people are going to study for career purposes, and we think that this is an opportunity for us to take some market share in this course. So we've deliberately built the course to appeal to two distinct target audiences. So we think there's going to be two types of people who are going to study this course. The first type is people who already have experience in the community services sector. So whether they're working already in community services or have a lot of experience in volunteering or just a connection with community services already, and this is a natural extension for them. That the outcome that they're hoping to achieve by studying a qualification in community services is to get a supervisor position or a management position. So these people might have already completed a Certificate 3 or a Certificate 4 in community services, and that the diploma level course is now a way for them to move up in their career. So they're more of those career enhancer type students. We also think there's a secondary audience or second target audience of people who don't have any experience in community services, but they have a strong connection to their community and a strong connection or a strong belief in social issues and social justice. And their idea for the desired outcome for this course is to break into the community services industry. So they're using it as really a stepping stone into the industry and to gain employment. And we've deliberately created the course to appeal to both audiences. So we haven't made sure that the course would only benefit those who already have experience. And I'll go through that a little bit later, but we deliberately built in these two audiences from the outset. And you'll find that a lot of competitors really only cater for one of those two audiences. So we hope that this should broaden our market a little bit. So in terms of who we're speaking to, largely female audience. So 92% of the audience we think are going to be female. This is based on figures of students who study community services at open colleges with the other students within the faculty. And we think their age is going to be similar to our average age of 33. And most students would have a Certificate 3 level as a minimum. But there'll be some students who already have a bachelor degree and then who are doing a major career change, and there'll be others who will have no qualifications whatsoever. And thankfully, again, this course appeals to both, and students can enter the course directly, regardless of their level of experience. And then really those emotional motivations to study this course. There'll be a real desire to give back to the community. This opportunity to transform lives, to change lives. So I'm sure the prospects, when they talk to you on the phone, will talk about their desire to help people, their desire that they want to change people's lives. And really, when you think about it, this will allow them to help other people, but it also is a way for them to help themselves. They feel rewarded and they feel good about themselves because of the fact that they get to help other people. So it's a challenging career. Community services is not for everyone. You deal with a lot of confronting issues, and you deal with things that for a lot of people would find difficult to talk about or difficult to experience. But the people interested in this qualification, they find this very rewarding, and they're very passionate about it. So while someone like yourself or myself may feel like this would be a very difficult career, the people interested in this course, for them, it is an ultimate. It's their goal is to work in this type of job. So their motivation is not for salary or the status of working in a high-powered career, but they really appreciate the fact that if they get employed in the community services, it can be a steady career. It can be very stable. And ultimately, it's very worthwhile, where they can help others and they can contribute to society. So they go home at night feeling very well pleased, and they feel rewarded about what they've done and that the fact they get to help people every day. So this course would also be suitable for graduates of the Certificate 4 in youth work. So it would be a natural extension into a broader area of community services. So they could use the Certificate 4 to specialise in youth work, and then take the diploma level qualification in community services to get a real broad understanding of the entire community services industry. And they could, in some of their assessments, they could focus on youth and issues around young people. However, they would not get any credit from the Certificate 4 in youth work into the Diploma of Community Services, just to note. So what do they get when they finish? So graduates of this qualification, will work across a number of different organisations, and you can essentially break those into non-government organisations and welfare agencies. A lot of them are like charities such as Mission Australia or Lifeline, Youth Off the Streets, Caritas Australia, and so they might work in a medium level to senior level supervisor capacity within those charities, or within those welfare organisations and non-government organisations. And the types of things they might be doing, they might be managing programs that give assistance to the community, and they might be doing kind of one-on-one dealing with people within the community, depending on the type of area they specialise in. They could also work in a government agency. They could work for the Department of Community Services, for example. They could work in Housing New South Wales, working with people who have housing issues. the Federal Department of Social Services, or the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, which is also a federal organisation. So it's important to note, so the Department of Community Services, that is a New South Wales, that's a state-based organisation. So in every state there will be something similar to DOCS, but they might have a slightly different name. So depending on who you're talking to and where they're from, you can encourage them to research the agencies in there and the government institutions within their state. So they can work across a number of areas. So what generally happens in community services, and the good thing about this course is that it's a broad generalist course, so we're giving people a taste of all of the main issues within community services, and they can choose within their course, within the assessments within that course, and where they want to focus. So we touch on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander services, youth and children, issues around alcohol and other drugs, housing, which is a big one, so people who have issues finding housing policy, and then there's the area of community development. So that's organising things like after-school activities for certain groups. It might be running sporting or recreational programs. There might be programs around nutrition or healthy eating and literacy, those sorts of things. A lot of these kind of programs that exist at the community and the local level, and also family services. So a lot of issues relate to how the breakdowns within the family. So there might be some case management, some counselling around family services that students could work in. In terms of job titles, it's fairly broad. There's a lot of different job titles out there that seem to change depending on the sector and in the industry. But some of the potential ones could be community services worker, family services coordinator, group facilitator. They could be called a pastoral care counsellor. So it's important to note that they wouldn't be qualified as a counsellor by taking this qualification, but there is a subject on counselling in the course, and we'll go through that a little bit later. Social welfare worker, but a lot of the titles I think will be very generic, like case manager, program manager, case coordinator, program coordinator, those types of job titles. It'll depend on the institution, the agency, or the organisation as to what type of job title they'll get. All right, so to enter the qualification, to enter the course, there are some entry requirements. So the training package states that to enter the Diploma of Community Services work, students must have completed 2 units from the Certificate 4 in Community Services work, and those units are listed there. So there's a work effectively in the community sector and a work effectively with culturally diverse clients and co-workers. If the student hasn't completed those 2 units from the Cert 4, which generally means if they haven't completed the Cert 4, they can use their extensive work experience in community services to have this requirement satisfied. So if someone has a number of years of work experience in community services and can show that they are able to A, work effectively in the community sector, and B, work effectively with culturally diverse clients, then they would satisfy this entry requirement. However, what we've done with our course at Open Colleges, is we've included these 2 units, the 2 units from the Certificate 4 into the course. So the course is direct entry for anyone, regardless of the level of their experience. And we just think this opens up the audience a bit more. It means that you don't have to tell students on the phone that they must go away and attain these 2 units before they can enroll in our course, or they don't have to prove their work experience. If they have already completed those 2 units through a Cert 4, or if they have a number of years of work experience, they can apply for credit transfer or RPL. And if they are granted RPL, they will go straight into study period 1. If they are not granted RPL and need to do those units, then they do the foundation study period. And so I'm going to go through that in the course structure in a second. But what this means is essentially the course is direct entry in terms of the education requirement for anybody, provided they also meet the other requirements, which are fairly standard for a diploma level. So students must be 18 years of age as a minimum, and they'll need to have completed Year 12 or a Certificate 3 or 3 years of general work experience for the literacy requirement. So you can probably understand a diploma level in community services, there's going to be a fair high level of literacy required, reading. Students will need to write case studies and reports and whatnot, and that because that is the general practice in the community services industry. So, so students must have a completion of Year 12 or equivalent, and that equivalency can be a Certificate 3 or 3 years work experience. Then students also must be aware that there's 200 hours of structured workplace learning involved in this course. Okay, so the structure of the course is as follows. You can see that there, and you can also read this in the brochure or on the website. And so we start with a foundations in community services study period. So these are the 2 units that we've pulled out of the Certificate 4 in Certificate 4 in Community Services. So students can either start there at the foundation level, or if they get RPL for those 2 units, they can go straight into Study Period 1. So you can see how people will move through the course. So we start with establishing case management, establishing case plans. And this is essential for dealing with clients in community services. They're dealt with as cases. So students must be able to know how to manage a case before they can progress in the industry. And then you move through into working with the client. So the course is very client focused. We're confirming, so you can see confirmed client development status. We work effectively with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Then we're doing more of the case planning, and then moving into reflecting on own practice. So that's around things like counselling and being professional within the community services industry. A lot of that relates to confidentiality and managing, within so as you can see there, legal and ethical practices. So then you're moving through the course, and your students pick up more and more of those management level skills. So you can see the course is not particularly focused on, or we're not specialising in particular areas within community services. But how we've built the course is that students can contextualise the units within if they want to focus on something in particular. So, for example, if someone wants to focus on housing, as an example, they can use case studies and their assessments to focus on that as their area of passion or interest. Otherwise, they can move their way through the course and decide as they go where they think they might be interested in. And you can see we finish off with a few more units that are a little more specific. So we've got provide interventions in the last study period to meet the needs of consumers with mental health and alcohol and other drug issues. So AOD in terminology in the industry stands for alcohol and other drugs. And then a unit that relates to children and young people right at the end. So there's 10 study periods in the course. The foundation units are considered their own study period. And then you move into study period 1 once you finish those 2 foundation units. So there's a total of 20 units. Students have 2 years to complete the qualification, and this qualification is awarded by ICMT, so Integrated Care and Management Training. Just to note, so it's not a TAFE course, in case you were wondering, even though North Coast TAFE do offer this course. So 200 hours of structured workplace learning. The work placement is fairly similar to the model for other qualifications within your faculty, within the health and community services faculty. So if a student is already in the workplace in a community services organisation, their work placement can be completed in that workplace, but it'll need to be approved by open colleges. If not, the students will source their own work placement, and they can use the support of the work placement support team if they're having difficulty in sourcing a work placement in their local area. Students will commence their work placement in study period 4. Now, this is to ensure that they've developed all the skills that they need in case management and in working effectively in the community services industry before they go out into the workplace. So what this means is, number one, we don't expect students to already have a work placement lined up before they start the course, and they can use the first few study periods to settle in and to start looking for a work placement. And once they get through those case management units and the working effectively in the industry units, then they can start their work placement, and that gives them all the skills that they need to be successful. So they'll need a supervisor with at least 3 years of experience in the community service sector, and the supervisor needs to hold a minimum of diploma of community services work. However, in practice, what we think is that in a lot of these organisations, most of the people at management level will have a bachelor degree, and so that's obviously fine if they have a bachelor degree, but it needs to be a minimum of a diploma of community services. And then because of the nature of working in community services, all students will need to obtain a criminal record check before they do their work placement. And if they're going to be working with children in a youth-focused organisation, they'll need a working with children check. And obviously these checks are done at the cost of the student. Okay, so to compare with our competitors, there's 3 major competitors that are offering this course that I think our students are likely to come across. They're likely to find them when they're doing their research. So the first one is Seek Learning. So Seek Learning offer this course with their partner OTEN, Open Training Education Network, and the price for their course is $5,790. They're offering it with vet fee help. So it's useful to remember that vet fee help contains a 20% loan fee when students agree to take up vet fee help. So 5,790 times 20%, add another 20% onto that, and so you're going to be close to $7,000 for that course. So they require you to complete the 2 units from the Certificate 4 as an entry requirement. They don't offer any alternatives. They don't offer any ways to go away and do the units. At least it's not advertised on their website. So they might have different options when you call in, but it's useful to know that students who are looking at that course are advised that they need the Cert 4. Their work placement is 240 hours rather than the 200 hours that we have, and they give students 2 years to complete. Now, our partner North Coast TAFE are offering this course at $4,950. Again, they attract vet fee help, so add on the loan fee, and you've got a slightly higher price. So almost $6,000 with the 20% loan fee. So they do offer the units that you need to enroll in the course as a prerequisite, as a foundation course. So there's 2 Cert 4 units as a foundation course. But they charge $544 for the 2 foundation units. So total, that is $5,494, and you need to pay that $500 if you wanted to do the entire course with the 2 units. So $5,940. You need to pay that $454 before you can enroll in those 2 units, and you can pay via a payment plan for those 2 subjects. They also offer work placement for 200 hours, but students only get 18 months to complete the qualification at North Coast TAFE. The third major competitor is Courses Now. So they offer the course with their partner TAFE New South Wales, and they're charging $4,990, which is also attracting vet fee help, so around about $6,000 with vet fee help total, with the 20% loan fee. Students must complete the elective units from the Cert 4 before they can enroll in the Courses Now diploma. So they have a statement on their website that says the units will be provided. Again, they will offer them as a foundation course, a separate foundation course, but you must pay extra for those, and I believe it's $500 as well. So while the price seems cheaper, around about similar to our price, they're not including the 2 units in their entry price, and it just feels to students that there's an extra hurdle that they need to overcome before they can enroll. Students they have 400 hours of work placement in their course, which is quite a lot. That's double the number of hours that we offer, but students also get 2 years to complete the course. So with us at Open Colleges, we have established our price at $4,890. So with a $100 deposit, students have 12 months to pay for the course, 12 months payment plan, but that brings the weekly payment price at $99.79. Our entry requirements are direct entry, regardless of the level of experience the student has, due to the fact that we built in the 2 units into the course as a foundation units. We have 200 hours of work placement, and students get 24 months to complete the course. So that's everything I have for you today. If you have any questions, just send me an email. They're tim.jordan@opencolleges.edu.au, or talk to your team leader and they'll get in touch with me. We are hoping and praying for pre-enrollment to start on the 7th of May 2014, which means that students can pay a deposit or pay upfront if they like from the 7th of May, and that guarantees them a spot in the course. But they won't get their course material until the 16th of May 2014, which is a Friday. So that is our go live date that we're aiming for. So there'll be about a week and a half where students can pre-enroll and then they get their material on that Friday. If any of those dates change, I'll be sure to let you know through the team leaders. So that's everything. Good luck, and we look forward to seeing students in this course. Again, if you have any questions or is there anything that I've missed, please feel free to get in touch. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing lots of students studying the Diploma of Community Services work. Okay, cheers. Thanks, guys.